Gaston Brown sworn in as Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister for a second consecutive term. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, March 22nd. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Just hours after his Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, the ABLP, was officially declared winner of Wednesday's general election, Prime Minister Gaston Brown took the oath of office before Governor General Sir Rodney Williams, commencing his second term as leader of the Twin Island nation. The swearing-in ceremony on Thursday followed the ABLP winning 15 of the 17 seats in Wednesday's election. Steadroy Benjamin was returned as the country's Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Legal Affairs, Public Safety and Labour. But up to news time, the 51-year-old Brown had not yet named the remaining members of the cabinet, but said he would do so late Thursday. The returning Prime Minister says he plans to put his administration to work immediately.
Issue of public servant increases. I mean, I gave them on taken about a week ago. I said to them it will be one of the priority issues in which we will try and accelerate the negotiations. Clearly, we do not have control over the negotiations. Ultimately, it will be left to them and the type of demands that they make. If they make unreasonable demands, the negotiations will be protracted, and it will be as a result of the unreasonable demands. But on the basis that we're able to reach consensus, I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to deal with that matter pretty quickly and have it resolved.
The rebuilding of Barbuda and the beautification of the capital, St. John's, are among the projects Brown plans to pursue in his next term. The other two seats contested in Wednesday's elections were won by the ABLP's main challenger, the United Progressive Party, the UPP, and the Barbuda People's Movement, the BPM, which had an alliance with the UPP. The UPP won the All Saints East and St. Luke's constituency. The lone seat in Barbuda was won by Trevor Walker, who defeated the incumbent Arthur Nibbs of the ABLP. But UPP leader Harold Lavelle failed to secure his seat, as did his deputy Wilmoth Daniel. Joanne Messiah, a disgruntled former UPP member who formed the Democratic National Alliance, the DNA, also lost her seat. Among the winners of the ABLP was the Prime Minister's wife, Maria Bird Brown, a newcomer to frontline politics. She won the St. John Rural East seat that had been held previously by her uncle, former Prime Minister Sir Lester Bird, before his retirement from active politics. Bird Brown polled 2,175 votes to defeat the UPP's Trevor Young with 975 and Vere Cornelius of the DNA, who only managed 134 votes.
The amount of confidence that my people have placed in me, and I'll definitely deliver for them. I'm elated and I'm just ready to work. Now the real work begins.
The 26-year-old Bird Brown will be the youngest member of the new parliament. She tells CMC News she's up to the challenge and sees it as an opportunity to represent the youth.
Well, being the youngest member of Parliament, I think that I'm paving the way for future young leaders to come and join the political arena. I think it's an absolutely great step forward for our youth. It shows that there's confidence in our youth. It shows that there's not only confidence in our youth from the electorate, but also in the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party.
When asked about how she will juggle her roles as First Lady and MP, she said she will take them all as one.
There's no running away from being Mrs. Brown. So I take on all roles as one. I'll always be Maria, that's who I am. Maria is Maria. There's the role of First Lady, and there's the role of the member for St. John's Rural East. And I must say, my people come first, though. But in a broader perspective, I represent everybody.
Over in Grenada, long-standing politician Anthony Boson says he will not be accepting a cabinet position when the re-elected members of the Dr. Keith Mitchell-led New National Party, the NNP, take their oaths of office on Sunday. The NNP swept into office for a second consecutive term last Tuesday, winning all 15 seats. In a telephone interview on local radio, Boson said he would use the 5-year term to work more closely with the young people in his constituency.
And my intention is to oversee the implementation of the plans and programs of the New National Party in the constituency for the next 5 years. Major projects that we have to bring on stream. Something I said at the victory rally, our young people, they were responsible for the victory of the New National Party. And Andre, believe me, I will be sticking, I will be like a leech on the government back to ensure that we do things to enhance the quality of life of our young people.
Boson, an economist by profession who has been contesting general elections since 1999, said he has already indicated his intention to the Prime Minister. He said being a minister would be restrictive.
If I'm in cabinet, I'll be brutal, I'll be frank with you. If I'm in cabinet, you are constrained by what you can say. If things are not working for the people, I will be critical of those. I mean, constructive criticism. I'm not condemning or criticizing my government. No, but I'm saying that I will be in a better position to articulate in a more open forum that these are the things we promise and I want to see them delivered within the constraints of finance and, and reasonableness. You cannot be unreasonable and say, well, I want everything. But I'm saying I will be articulating with a more powerful voice for the things that I want to see done.
The Jamaica government is moving to establish a watch list of people, including dons and gang leaders, who will be subjected to enhanced surveillance. The plan was announced by Prime Minister Andrew Holness in the House of Representatives. The announcement came against the backdrop of the declaration of states of public emergency in crime hotspots in the country, the most recent being the parish of St. Catherine.
Persons with gang associations and those who are part of criminal organizations have been proceeding with impunity. Currently, research is being undertaken to guide the establishment of a watch list.
Holness told legislators he will be seeking political consensus on the country's crime plan by reintroducing regular talks with the opposition.
I am confident we can reach an understanding to put national security above politics in the same way the government and the opposition have rallied around to pass legislation relating to IMF targets.
In Trinidad and Tobago, Attorney General Faris Alwari has sought to assure Muslims in the Twin Island Republic that they are not being targeted by pending changes to an anti-terrorism law. He says, to the contrary, the amendments actually protect law-abiding citizens. The Attorney General addressed the issue during an anti-money laundering seminar at the Radisson Hotel on Wednesday. Fane Richards of TV6 reports.
After the AG announced plans to strengthen anti-terrorism laws, the group Muslims of Trinidad and Tobago lashed out. PRO Imtiaz Mohammed said by making people apply for national security permits to travel to so-called terrorist countries, the AG was labeling all Muslims as terrorists. Addressing anti-money laundering experts, the AG insisted there is balance in the legislation. He used the example of Islamic organizations that finance zakat or charitable initiatives.
What is being missed in the conversation on anti-terrorism, in particular, is the fact that we are providing a protection for our citizens of Trinidad and Tobago so that you don't find yourself without a track record, without your state saying, well, okay, X charitable entity in a particular country is a known charitable entity and this has been certified so.
Al-Rawi says the legislation will address people who finance terrorism and who train to become a terrorist online. But the AG did empathize with the experience of Muslims, sharing his own story of being profiled by security agencies.
For instance, looking now as I do, having an Iraqi name as I do, speaking Arabic as I do, I have had the privilege of being pulled aside for secondary examination randomly every single time I travel. It's an unusual incidence to be randomly selected every single time, but one accepts that that is one's fate when you come from certain parts of the world.
The amendments to the Anti-Terrorism Act are currently being examined by a joint select committee of Parliament. Government met with Muslim leaders last month to assure them the Islamic community was not being unfairly targeted. 15 Muslims were arrested just before Carnival on suspicion of plotting a violent criminal act. All but 2 were released without charge.
And still to come in Caribbean Newsline, the alert level for Kickham Jenny is lowered. That story and more after the break. Stay with us.
It's time. Kick back, relax, enjoy the view, the boats, the scenery amidst epic parties, entertainment and nightlife. Antigua Sailing Week. Experience 7 days of non-stop bliss. Chase the race daily by land or up close by sea as the crews compete for glory. Then, when night falls, the harbor ignites. Antigua Sailing Week, April 28th to May 4th, 2018. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
This is the plaintiff, Pamela Patterson. She's suing for reimbursement of weave and glue because the defendant failed to show up to do her hair in time for her wedding. She's seeking $800. This is the defendant, Cherie. She claims they didn't have any appointment and she had no idea the plaintiff was even getting married. She even accuses her of being a pathological liar.
It's free. What do you mean?
I don't pay to get my hair done.
Who did that?
The alert level for underwater volcano Kickham Jenny is back at yellow. The alert had been raised to orange after seismic activity was recorded at the volcano on March 9th and then intensified 3 days later. But the National Disaster Management Agency in Grenada said the alert was downgraded after the University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center said that activity at the volcano had declined. Kickham Jenny is located between Grenada and the Grenadine island of Carriacou. It last erupted in 2015. Guyana's President David Granger says sustainable tourism is key to the economic development and unification of the Caribbean and the Americas. He was speaking at Wednesday's opening of the 24th Inter-American Congress of Ministers and High-Level Authorities of Tourism in Georgetown. Delegates from 34 countries that are part of the Organization of American States are participating in the meeting that is being held under the theme Connecting the Americas Through Sustainable Tourism. Granger says climate change and the lack of access to financing pose a serious threat to the tourism industry in the Caribbean and the Americas. He says climate-resilient tourism will help the hemisphere better recover from natural hazards.
Climate change is real, at least in this continent. It is not an intellectual invention. It is not political sophistry. Climate change represents the most potent threat to Caribbean tourism, particularly the small island and low-lying coastal states. Rising sea level on eroding beaches, destroying coral reefs, and disrupting marine life, all prime Caribbean tourist attractions as a result of climate change. Extreme weather patterns are precipitating droughts and floods, which diminish food supplies and customer services needed in the tourism sector.
Granger is also calling for the Americas to be promoted as a zone of peace in a world with so many wars and conflicts. He told the delegates that consideration should be given to that at the Congress.
Protection of the Americas patrimony, its natural assets, its cultural diversity, and this blissful state of peace is the bedrock of sustainable tourism. The tourism industry must be protected from the perils of transnational threats such as cybercrime and trafficking in drugs, trafficking in guns, and trafficking in people. Security cooperation against transnational threats will make our society safer for our citizens and for visitors.
And another news coming from the Inter-American Congress of Ministers and High-Level Authorities on Tourism. Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Caribbean Airlines, Captain Jagmohan Singh, says the Caribbean and the Americas remain challenged by the misuse of connectivity to support sustainable tourism. He says he hopes that through the meetings and discussions at the Congress, the region could overcome the problem because aviation is indispensable to Caribbean tourism.
Air travel to and from the Caribbean is currently forecasted to double over the next 20 years, with the market growing from 43 million passengers per annum in 2015 to 86 million passengers per annum by 2035. The biggest Caribbean markets are expected to maintain their relative importance over the next 20 years, with just a few countries swapping positions within the top 10. The Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and Cuba are poised to be the top 3 markets. Those statistics are indeed heartening, but also prove the unrelenting need to create a stable and sustainable system for the promotion and accessibility of tourism through the Americas.
Singh says forging strategic business alliances for sustainable development is important, adding that countries need to understand the benefits of connectivity throughout the region. He says it's critical at this time that symbiotic relations are created among all stakeholders, including airlines and destination countries.
I know that there may be some doubt as empirically the Caribbean and South and Central American countries have not historically been the quintessential model of connectivity and multilateral cooperation. However, I, and in turn Caribbean Airlines, remain optimistic that it is an agency such as our airline which can aid in bridging the remaining gaps by providing not only the physical act of transportation, but a sense of interconnectivity and fraternity through mutual agreement and cooperation.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, Dave Cameron says plans will begin to ensure West Indies capture the World Cup title. Stay with us. Sport is next.
It's time. Kick back, relax, enjoy the view, the boats, the scenery amidst epic parties, entertainment and nightlife. Antigua Sailing Week. Experience 7 days of non-stop bliss. Chase the race daily by land or up close by sea as the crews compete for glory. Then, when night falls, the harbor ignites. Antigua Sailing Week, April 28th to May 4th, 2018. Antigua and Barbuda. The beach is just the beginning.
Welcome to Real Life 101, the place where you'll get the inside scoop on real jobs, great career choices.
I'm here with Marie Stokes, and she is a dental hygienist. So can you tell me what your typical day is like as a dental hygienist?
Well, I start off, we start at 7, and we have a little morning meeting and talk about our patients, and then my first patient's at 7:10.
Hey man, it's the D.O.N. of the D-League, and I want to tell you about some of the features that's on my album. I got Do It All from Lords of the Underground, I got King Magnetic, I got Ad-Lib, I got C Knowledge, I got Big Lou, and my video coming up soon, but right now, just check out this new video.
Had to see a therapist, cause I'm trying to turn the page. I've been through a lot of shit. People spit on my name. They be looking different, but they hate on you the same.
Cricket West Indies President Dave Cameron says planning will begin immediately towards ensuring the regional side wins next year's World Cup in England. The Caribbean side defeated Scotland by 5 runs under the Duckworth-Lewis method in their final Super 6 match of the ICC World Cup qualifiers on Wednesday to secure one of the 2 remaining spots in the global showpiece. The CWI boss said in a statement, and I quote, "Every step we make from this point forward must be to put the building blocks in place for us to be able to win the World Cup for a 3rd time next year. There would be no better place to win the World Cup than in England. We won the first 2 editions of the World Cup when they hosted it, and there is a strong and special connection in the game between there and the Caribbean. Right now I know there are a lot of Windies cricket fans in England and indeed the Caribbean keen on making plans to attend the World Cup matches and give the team their full support." End of quote. Cameron hailed the effort of the West Indies squad and the fans who backed the team from the outset. The Caribbean side boasts a proud history in the World Cup, winning the first 2 editions in 1975 and 1979 under the legendary Clive Lloyd and reaching the final of the 1983 tournament. West Indies women's chances of getting their first win of the tour of New Zealand were dashed when the 4th T20 International was abandoned without a ball bowled due to rain on Thursday. Heavy early morning showers left Purikira Park unfit for play, and following 2 inspections and with more rain in the forecast, match officials decided play would not be possible in the contest. West Indies women trailed 0-3 in the 5-match series, and Captain Stephanie Taylor said the washout had been a setback, especially with the Caribbean side trying to rescue pride. They suffered a whitewash in the preceding 3-match one-day series before losing the opening T20s in Mount Manganui and then going down in the 3rd one on Tuesday. The final match is carded for Seddon Park in Hamilton, and that's going to take place on Sunday. Staying with cricket, Peshawar Zalmi captain Darren Sammy played a small role to help his side trounce Karachi Kings by 13 runs and secure the chance to defend their Pakistan Super League title against Islamabad United in Sunday's final. Asked to bat first in the 2nd eliminator at the Gaddafi Stadium, Zalmi rattled up 170 for 7 in a contest reduced to 16 overs per side. Opener Kemran Akmal extended his excellent form with 77 off 27 balls, while West Indies batsman Andre Fletcher struck 34 and Sammy a quick-fire 23. In reply, Englishman Joe Denley top-scored with an unbeaten 79 off 46 balls, while Babar Azam stroked 63, but Kings came up short of their target. Mukhtar Ahmed fell cheaply in the 2nd over for 1 with 13 on the board, leaving Denley and Azam to stage a valiant 117-run 2nd wicket partnership, which proved in vain. Switching sport now, Trinidad and Tobago's senior women's football team is gearing up for another bid to qualify for the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2019. TNT is set to take on Panama in 2 matches set for Thursday at the Otto Bolden Stadium and then at the Manny Ramjan Stadium on Saturday. It was back in 2015 when the Caribbean side lost out on 3 opportunities to qualify for the World Cup in Canada. Head coach Jamal Shabazz, who spoke to TV6's Vinod Nawani, explained why these matches are important for his team ahead of the qualification round.
Having missed out on the last Women's World Cup in Canada in 2015, Trinidad and Tobago hope to make it to next year's tournament in France. As such, TNT's women will have to play in World Cup qualifiers later this year. And for that reason, they are making preparations by starting off with 2 warm-up matches against Panama on Thursday and Saturday in Trinidad. And coach Jamal Shabazz welcomes the move, saying this is what his players need as the team is in the rebuilding stage.
These matches will certainly show where we are in terms of fitness as it relates to preparing for the tournament in May. It will show, how the girls have adapted tactically. And also, more importantly, we injected new blood into this team. We brought in about 5 players from the under-20, 2 from the under-17s.
Skipper Tasha St. Louis is also looking forward to the encounter, but is concerned about how the team performs since TNT's women last played a match in early 2017.
I think firstly we want to get a good result and performance as well. We want to show a good performance. We have some of the younger players from the under-20 team in the team, you know, trying to gain a spot on the senior team, and we also missing a lot of players from the senior team as well. So, you know, the performance, I would say we're looking mainly for the performance.
Also pumped up for the clash is Janine Francois, who was a member of the previous senior team that missed out on the World Cup.
We're physically in better shape than we've ever been, so right now it's just to put the efforts into the tactics and into our technique and work on the stuff on the field.
On a personal level, how ready are you?
I'm ready. I'm excited for the game. I'm excited to play. We haven't played, as Sean said, but we're really, really excited to go out there and see what we're working on.
Over to the Cayman Islands, where organizers of the Under-20 Cayman Cup are disappointed that there will be no tournament for a second year. And that's because there's not enough funding. As we hear in this report from Cayman 27's Jordan Amenez, the Cayman Islands Football Association did not inject funds into the tournament because it believes it's bad for business.
When you look at it and you compare Cayman to the rest of the world, talent-wise, we have the same talent. We put our shoes and socks on the same way, but the difference between, I guess, Cayman and the countries that do well is their preparation.
But is anyone prepared to fund an under-20 boys football tournament in Cayman? Tournament manager Antoine Seymour says the answer is no.
The association is struggling right now to give us assistance, and government hasn't gotten back to us in terms of assistance either. So we're pretty much dealing off of ticket sales and sponsors so far, and right now we're still short.
Cayman Islands Football Association President Alfredo Whitaker says after examining the details, the tournament simply wasn't good business.
We kind of come to some agreement, but the price of hotel and what we would be paying to host a tournament that is really friendly matches it wouldn't give you the value.
And since his appointment in November, Whitaker says CIFA finances have been a work in progress. That's because the $2.5 million FIFA agreed to send the association after being approved in November for funding once again is stuck in transit.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You had again done a very striking painting, which we'll see in a minute, of very moving painting, which almost took you back to the times of the ancient Greek wars and the First World War. I mean, it was a painting about the Iran-Iraq war with the widows sitting next to the bodies of their husbands. Did you carry on doing that sort of work for some time?
Again, the major developments of this day: Gaston Brown sworn in as Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda for a second consecutive term after his Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party wins 15 of the 17 seats in general elections. And in sport, the Cricket West Indies president says plans are being put into place to ensure the regional side wins next year's World Cup. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to KanaNews.com. We'll be back again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.